I'm trying something new. It's my first flower workshop. Hey YouTube. This week, as I said, we're doing something new. I'm hosting a flower workshop this Monday, which means today on Saturday, I need to start picking everything. Now, if you're new to the channel, I have 3 different places that I pick from. I pick from here on the acreage. I have some at my regular garden at home. And then I also have a garden out in Humboldt at my mom's house that I regularly get stuff from when I need it for big things like this. I don't know in the future if I'm going to be regularly hosting this type of event, but one of the things that I really want to do in this first year of my flower farming journey is to try enough things just to figure out what do I like, what's successful, what does there seem to be a market for, and then I can make my decisions for next year and what I plant based on that. So let's go pick some flowers because we're gonna need a lot. So in most of these types of flower workshops, usually the people come to the place where the flowers are and then they pick their own. Now in this case, I'm not able to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm giving each participant sort of a curated bucket of their flowers, and then I'll also have some extras so that if they don't like what they've picked or I've picked, that there's a little bit of choice and they can sub out some of the stuff. As usual, Arabian Night Dahlias come to save the day. We've got at least 4 usable ones on here, and I bet that one will probably bloom out by the time I need it to. I might throw in a few of these radish pods. I think they look really interesting, but we'll see what the other people think. Okay, we've got tons of amaranth, and this is sort of my plan for the pink amaranth. We'll definitely cut most of that. Few cosmos not looking great, so I'll probably just cut those for greenery. Finally getting a few nice zinnias and Rebecca. I wish I had more, but I guess I'll just cut what I have. We've got more amaranth, although it's a little awkward to use, but I'll probably still use it. Who are we kidding? Then tons of this Love Lies Bleeding. Most of this is gonna go. This, I think this one is called Celebration. It's still pretty small. I'm gonna save this for my September weddings because that'll go better. And then some sad sunflowers. Definitely not gonna pick those. So I am here with Laura of Tundra's Flower Farm. One of the great things about the flower community in Saskatoon is we all help each other out, and my flower farm is way too small to accommodate this that I'm doing today. So Laura has so graciously let me pick a bucket, and we're just gonna like peek through her flower garden because it's so pretty. And Tundra's Flower Farm, you do subscriptions. What else do you do?
Yeah, so this year I just do subscriptions, and then I have a website where I can deliver just a single bouquet.
Yes, and then you have some sales in this like fall, right?
In the
plants.
fall. Yeah. So I have tulip bulbs and ranunculus this year.
Awesome. So if you're around Saskatoon, Tundra's as well. I went to put my flowers in the bucket, and Tundra has definitely claimed it. I got a bunch of gorgeous white and neutral. Don't mind the noise in the background. We just have some kids that are a little hot and tired. So now we got to go off to Humboldt to my secret garden and see what we can cut there. Let's go. Okay, we made it into Humboldt and entering the secret garden to grab whatever I can. Unfortunately, a lot of it is dried out. We still just don't have a lot of rain, but I'm still gonna grab as much as I can, especially for that wedding that I'm doing. So the wedding that I'm doing this week, as well as the event, they want all neutral and green colors. And so mom actually has a lot of different bushes and things that I can pull from here. I only have a little bit at my own place, and even at the acreage, I've tested a lot of the greens there, and a lot of those greens just don't hold up in the vase well. So I'm going to grab what I can from her bushes. So it feels almost painful to cut all my bells of Ireland. They're so pretty, everybody loves them. But the thing is, none of my brides that in the future need these for their wedding scheme. So I might as well use them up this week for this bride and for this event that I'm filming the video for. It's also been kind of cool because some of the flowers I've never really grown very successfully before, and this is one of them. I didn't even know, is the Bells of Ireland a cut and come again flower? When's the best time to harvest it? The last time I remember seeing a Bell of Ireland, it was just giant, like it was as tall as me, and these ones are quite small, but it's been a good learning experience of when I like to cut them and when I don't. I've also learned my preferences with cosmos this year. I really don't like working with these cosmos. They just don't last very long. They go to seed really quick. Over here, I have, I think, a double click variety, or maybe it was like a bonbon or something. And these are a little bit nicer. The ferns, for lack of a better word on them, are just nicer and thicker. It's basically everything that I've cut over here is from there, and I've used almost nothing from those other cosmos. So I was able to grab these 2 buckets of flowers from my mom's garden. I was really hoping for more, but I guess you get what you get, especially in August in Saskatchewan. My mom's garden is more of a perennial garden, so it really shines in late June and early July. But now nearing mid-August, I'm lucky to get what I got. This time I cut the fun stuff first. So now with that out of the way, it's time to get as many greens as I can get. Also, picking of the flowers takes a lot more time than you think it will. Like if you're new to this, you might think, oh, I can pick these flowers. It'll go really fast. It'll be totally fine. But in reality, it'll probably take you like 2 to 4 hours depending how big your event is. And then when I think of all the time that I am going to my different flower growers, so you know, I spent an hour over at Tundra's, and then I'm doing a pickup today over at 316, and I'll probably spend another 45 minutes or an hour depending if Monica has cut them or not. If she's cut them, it's maybe faster, but you know, we like to chat. So, and it's great to talk to other growers and realize that like their garden is just as weedy as your garden. So I'm about hour 3 now into harvesting, and wow, I'm thinking that I really need to have some conversations with myself, figuring out my pricing based just on how long it's taking me to harvest everything, and also having some conversations with my husband about if he's able to help me, or maybe I need to teach my son to try and pick these flowers, because being a one-woman show harvesting everything, this is taking a long time. But okay, we got to keep going because I still need a few more things from this garden. Well, it's the end of our visit in Humboldt. Time to pack up the van. It was a good thing also that I was coming here because I also have some fold-up tables that I'm going to need for the event. So we got to pack those as well. As usual, the helpers are helping.
This water is actually for Mommy.
Packed up and ready to go. This feels like a crazy amount of flowers and greens. I'm hoping I have this stuffed in okay, but I'm definitely gonna have to drive carefully so that hopefully we don't tip anything. Okay, so last stop of the evening. It's been a really big day of cutting. So we're here at 316 Flower Co. with Monica, and I am so grateful for this because this is really close to my acreage, so it's extremely convenient for me to just like whip on out here, grab some flowers. I do not have a garden of this scale, so it's so nice to be able to work with her and get what I need. So Monica's here. Hey.
Hi.
So just tell the people of YouTube, what do you do, and sort of a little bit about your operation, like, because you have a very different focus than I do.
Yes.
We've often said that like I'm the glamour garden,
Right.
and you're the supplier.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell the people.
Yeah, my garden isn't as pretty as yours in the sense it's pretty of what's in it, but it's mostly a cutting working garden. So I supply designers, florists like Kristen with sunflowers, as well as I have another plot that is...
And also just don't mind the little mommies in the background. We both have 3 kids,
Yeah.
so like it's always bananas when I'm out here getting my flowers.
Anyways, I have another plot that's all filler, bouquet, greenery, grasses, that sort of thing too. And then all of the things that I grow can also be dried.
Yes.
So I'm able to help all the designers and florists in the local Saskatoon area with anything with their creations.
Yeah. So for those of you watching who are specifically watching this series because you're thinking about getting into the flower farming business, know that there's not just a one size fits all model. Like we both have very different models, but we're both succeeding in it. And again, like you can work with the other growers in your area. It doesn't have to be a competition. So
it's really important to play to your strengths.
yes.
Like
yes.
I would way rather be behind the scenes supporting people like you in your business and what you're doing, and growing those sorts of things, and then you design with them.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a train in the background.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut this out. All right, let's go pick some flowers. And now I have to magically find more room for these 4 containers. Wish me luck. So we're back at the house, but not everybody survived the trip. I'm driving. I look in my little thing our van has that you can see what the kids are doing basically in the back. And so I look at it and I see the 2-year-old thwacking the baby with my frosted explosion grass. So this is my frosted explosion grass. I didn't think she could reach it. So ticked. But what do? I mean, kids are gonna be kids. I really didn't think she could reach it, but that 2-year-old, she is, let's just say she's very resourceful, and it'll be great for her later in life. But right now, Mama is not pleased. We fit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 buckets in that van. 13 buckets now to scour my yard, and then we can finally start creating the buckets for the event. Now, if you're wondering why I have so many buckets, remember that I'm also doing a wedding this week, so I've picked stuff for that wedding as well. And I'll show you a little bit of how the wedding turns out at the end of this video too. So while I was away collecting flowers, my garden at home just became amazing. I've been trying to take pictures, but I feel pictures just don't suffice. I mean, so many more things are in bloom. Look at that eucalyptus. Don't mind the weeds. We have more glads popping up. My zinnias are finally getting some decent stem length. We have a few snaps. More zinnias over here. These Zowie flame ones are finally looking normal. It's actually kind of interesting. That's not how it's supposed to be, but I like it. My hot biscuits amaranth is just huge. Gonna be amazing. And then the dahlia patch. Now I know for some of you who have a lot more space, this amount of dahlias isn't like anything to write home about, but last year was such a failure. So even just to have this many dahlias blooming at the same time feels like such a success. And as always, we've got a little helper following me. It's totally normal behavior to photograph and video every single dahlia you have blooming, right? Right? Yeah, I knew you'd agree with me. We are getting set up for this flower bucket making night, and my strategy is to basically line up all the buckets and then just arrange it like I would a bouquet, except I don't have to make it totally beautiful. I just have to make it color coordinated. So I'll start with the greens, then do the filler, put in the special stuff, end with at least one hero flower, if not more, and then sort of anything extra I'll have so that the ladies can like pick and choose if they didn't like what I color coordinated. So here we go. So the nice thing about the venue for the workshop right back here is that it's super, super close to where I live. We're just basically walking down the alley. I might speed this up in the footage. And we're here. Imagine this installation going was I would like have everything done on time and I would just attach it to that and it would be all perfectly easy. But no, that is not the way it went at all. I am currently picking weed trees and taping things together, but you know what? This is a learning experience, so hope this doesn't happen when you try this. So the bouquet making night was a huge success. I had 8 ladies making bouquets and I walked them through the whole process using the same method that I use in Bouquets Made Beautiful and just basically for every single bouquet that I make in a jar. And so I had 8 pails and I color coordinated everything in the pails. So the idea was that at a typical bouquet night, you're picking your own flowers and maybe you're not really good with colors or knowing what types of flowers to pick. So you're just picking random stuff and then you go to put it together and it doesn't look good. So that's not the case with mine. I decided that also because of the situation I'm in, like this garden is way too small to have 8 people picking it, that I would curate the buckets and bring it to them. And so I also had 2 extra buckets of flowers just in case somebody didn't like their bucket, which was a really good idea because I actually did have one person that wasn't thrilled about the bucket that was left over by the time she got to choose. So she took one of my extra buckets. It worked out perfect. So then what I did is I demonstrated with whoever wanted to watch and do it step by step with me. And then if someone else felt comfortable, they're good with flowers or just confident in their abilities, they didn't have to listen to me. They could do their own thing. And then after I made the sample bouquet, I kind of walked around, just helped whoever felt like they needed help or if something wasn't looking quite right, just to fix it. And the nice thing about doing it that way is that all 8 ladies walked away with a beautiful bouquet that looked good. So hopefully they all felt really positive about the experience. I know I felt really positive about the experience. Another thing too is that the bouquet night was actually, you know, easier to put together than I thought. The biggest thing was cutting everything. And of course, if you're a typical flower farmer, you have more space than I do. You don't need to be cutting everything because the ladies are going to cut it. So I was cutting for this bouquet making night and then also for a wedding that the bride was picking up 2 days later. So I did a lot of cutting. I actually cut way too much. When I went to do the wedding, I sort of set everything out and I realized that I probably could have cut maybe a quarter to a third less of stuff than I did. But being that this was my first time running the event, I just didn't want to run out of flowers. I wanted to make sure that there was more than enough for everyone. I'm also finding on days when I have to cut things ahead of time that because I don't have refrigeration, there's always a certain percentage of flowers and greens that like they're maybe not quite in the water of the bucket, or with the heat we've been having, they're just not making the cut. So I'm always losing a little bit that I'm cutting ahead of time. The other thing was, because this was the first time I did this event, I needed more supplies. So I had 2 tables that I already owned, but I needed to purchase an additional fold-up table. I also didn't have enough buckets, so I needed to purchase matching buckets so that everyone had the same size. Oh, and another big purchase was that I had to get shears for everybody to cut their flowers. Now I could have gone cheaper and just gotten scissors, but I thought the clippers, the shears, they look just a little bit more professional. So that's what I want to go with. And it's a long-term investment. Now in the future, I know I would be able to host more than 8 ladies with sort of where I'm planning to go with my flower farm and how many flowers I'll have available. So I'll be looking out for sales. And then finally, if you're wondering what I charge and how much I made, I charged everybody $45 a pail. In hindsight, I don't think that was actually enough. When I think about how much time I spent cutting stuff, I also had to drive to 2 different growers, as you saw in the previous footage, to get extra flowers because I just don't have enough. I think I should have been charging more like $50, $55 per bucket, especially since they're getting personalized instruction and it's like a curated thing. But you know what? Live and learn. So you can do the math, $45 each bucket plus 8 ladies. And then you also have to deduct the costs that I had to incur. So the $75 for the clippers and another $75 for the table. And buckets came to, let's say, about $40. Because I also had to buy some of the flowers, I probably bought about $50 worth of flowers for this event. So add that onto there as well. And now you got the profit, which isn't very much. Oh, I almost forgot. I just wanted to show you and share with you a few clips of that wedding I was doing, just in case you're curious. This was one that was in all greens. It turned out absolutely beautiful. The white sunflowers really look fantastic. That big cascading bouquet. And then the best part was when my bride came to pick up like how much she loved it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. It's part of a larger series called Backyard Business, where I show you how I'm running my flower farm with a more advanced version of my signature ebook, Cut Flowers Made Simple. And then there'll also be a course to go along with it for those of you who want to learn more about the business sides of things. So stay tuned for that. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.